I can still hear them.
Mom said we can't tell him.
And that was the moment everything fell apart.
It all started the night my son slammed his bedroom door. All I did was ask how his day went. He'd never acted like that with me before. He used to tell me everything, you know? But now, he wouldn't even look me in the eye. I felt a knot form in my stomach. I went to my wife, Lisa, and asked if something happened at school. She just waved it off, saying he was just being dramatic like always. Something about her tone, her dismissiveness, it felt wrong. It wasn't just my son. All my kids had been pulling away from me for months. They'd start whispering to each other the moment I walked into a room. They'd hide their phones the second I came near. Even my daughter, my little girl who used to give me a big hug every single morning, had stopped. I tried talking to Lisa about it again. I asked her, "Have you noticed the change? Don't you see how they're acting around me?" She just shrugged her shoulders and said, "Kids go through phases." But this didn't feel like a phase. This felt different. It felt like a secret I was on the outside of. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked down the hallway to say goodnight just to see them, and I heard them whispering from my son's room. I heard the words that made my heart drop like I'd missed a step on the stairs. "Mom said we can tell him." My blood ran cold. I pushed the door open gently and asked, "Can't tell me what?" They both froze, their eyes wide with panic. My daughter just burst into tears. My son stared at the floor, refusing to meet my gaze. Before they could say a word, Lisa appeared in the hallway. Her voice was sharp, harsh. She accused me of eavesdropping on the children. I shot back, "Children shouldn't be hiding things from their father." She said I was overreacting again. That was her favorite word from me lately. She ushered them back into their rooms, shut their doors, and left me standing there alone in the dark hallway. I ended up on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, completely unable to shake the feeling that something terrible was happening right under my nose, right inside my own home. The next morning, I was determined to get an answer. I asked Lisa again, "What is the secret?" She got defensive immediately, telling me I needed to stop interrogating the kids. I told her honesty shouldn't feel like an interrogation. She just rolled her eyes, grabbed her bag, and left for what she called work. But my gut instinct, that feeling that had been eating at me for months, was stronger than her excuses. I felt this pull toward the family computer. I told myself I was just looking for homework or game history, anything to explain their behavior, but what I found was a folder of old photos. Photos I had never seen before. They were photos of Lisa with another man. Photos spanning years, my breath caught in my throat. I clicked through them one by one. Some were taken before our youngest child was even born. Others were from girls' trips she had taken. In every single picture, she looked happier than I had ever seen her look with me. It felt like someone had stabbed me in the chest and was twisting the knife, slowly. The life I thought I had, the marriage I thought was real, it was all shattering right there on the computer screen. I sat there for I don't know how long, just numb. When she came home that evening, I confronted her. I kept my voice steady. I showed her the photos. She just stared at me, her expression blanked like I was asking what she wanted for dinner. Then she let out this long, annoyed sigh and said, "So you finally found out." There was no fear in her voice, no guilt, no apology, just annoyance, like I was an inconvenience. I asked her how long it had been going on. She just said, "It doesn't matter." I slammed my fist on the table and yelled that it did matter. It mattered more than anything. She just looked at me coldly and said I couldn't handle the truth anyway. I told her I could handle anything except lies. That's when she told me. She sat down calmly as if we were discussing the weather and said she'd been seeing him for 20 years. 20 years, my entire marriage, our entire family life, was built on a foundation of deception. 20 years of our lives had a shadow cast over them by another man. My mind reeled. The vacations, the late nights at work, the girls' trips, it was all a lie. Then the most painful question of all came to my lips. I asked her if the kids knew. She nodded. "Yes," she said. "They helped me cover it." My knees felt weak. I almost collapsed. She went on, her voice devoid of any emotion. She said she taught them not to tell me because I was, in her words, too sensitive. Hearing that from her after 2 decades of blind loyalty and love, It broke something inside me that I don't think will ever be repaired. Just then, the kids came downstairs, drawn by the tension. They looked confused and scared. I looked right at them and asked, "Did you know the truth?" They both nodded slowly, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and guilt. My daughter started crying again, whispering, "I'm sorry, Daddy." My son looked at the floor and mumbled that Mom told them I would fall apart if I knew. I looked at their faces and all my anger toward them just vanished. I knelt down and told them, "This is not your fault. You are never, ever responsible for her choices." Lisa's voice cut through the air. "Stop manipulating them," she snarled. I stood up and faced her. "The only one who has been manipulating them is you," I said. Then she said the words that were the final nail in the coffin. "I never loved you the way you loved me. He makes me feel alive." I just looked at her and said, "And you? You just made me feel dead inside." I walked out of that house with nothing but my wallet and my keys. I didn't slam the door. I didn't shout. I was too numb for noise. The world just felt gray. The next morning I came back, but this time I had a plan. The fog of shock had lifted, replaced by a cold, hard clarity. I went straight to the kids' rooms and asked them to pack some clothes. They looked confused and asked why. I told them, "Because you deserve to live in a home where secrets do unrot the walls from the inside out." Lisa heard us and came running out, demanding they stay. She started yelling. But for the first time, the kids didn't cower. They looked at her, then they looked at me, and they chose me. Lisa started screaming that I was ruining everything. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You ruined everything 20 years ago. This is just the bill coming due." She told me I would regret leaving. I shook my head and said, "My only regret is staying for so long." We left the house quietly. As we walked to the car, my kids held my hands, their grips tight, just like they used to when they were little. And I saw something in their eyes I hadn't seen in months. They didn't look afraid. They looked free. As we drove away, leaving that house of lies behind us, my son turned to me from the back seat. His voice was small when he asked, "Dad, are things going to be okay?" I met his eyes in the rearview mirror and I gave him a real smile, maybe the first real one in a very long time. I told him, "When you have honesty, anything is possible. We're going to be more than okay." He nodded, a little bit of a smile playing on his lips. And beside him, my daughter, with tears still on her cheeks, smiled too. It was the start of something new, something real. Thanks for listening to my story. If you're going through something tough, remember that the truth, no matter how hard, is always the best foundation to build on. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.